So I'm going to introduce you to the first game that we call Build Your Own Hand. And it's really a storytelling game. And I think of it as a great icebreaker for a group to just sort of get used to using the card deck. It's also, and this is really important, it's an opportunity for everyone, including the non-financial folks, to recognize ourselves as part of an integrated capital and a community-based investing ecosystem. So we can find ourselves in it. So for this game, you don't need all of the suits. You're going to use the type of entity suit, the impact criteria suit, and the type of capital suit. So I'm just going to take these others away and line these up. It's a chance for participants to tell a story about some sort of community-based transaction that they have been involved in. And it's one where you could be seeking capital or deploying capital, meaning maybe you work at a nonprofit and you have to go ask for a grant, or you are an investor and you are making a loan, right? So it could be seeking capital or deploying capital. And you're going to tell a story by choosing a set of cards from these three suits. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. The first is I'm going to tell you about a time that, so let me do a startup. I have a startup here. I'm going to use the startup card. Actually, let me go to my type of capital next so I can think of a story. Okay, convertible debt. That's convenient because that goes really well with a startup. And I am thinking of, okay, I have one in mind. Hold on. Here we go. So this is my hand. I'm going to tell you a story about, I'm going to take that one out. That's not correct for me for this story. Okay. I made a convertible debt investment into a startup that was in the consumer packaged goods sector. It was actually doing allergy-free energy bars that were made mostly from seeds, starting up in the city of Boston in Dorchester. And the reason that I wanted to make it from an impact standpoint is, first of all, it's a social enterprise. So it's actually a B corporation. So it's a benefit corporation. They were very concerned with ecological stewardship. So they have a zero waste manufacturing facility, but also they're thinking a lot about local production. And so they want their supply chain to be relocalized. And in fact, they helped revitalize the salt production in Gloucester, which is not that far from Boston. So instead of sourcing salt the cheapest way that they could, they wanted to make sure that they were building their product locally. So that's an example of a story that I'd be able to tell, and I'd be telling that to my partner. I'd probably have about 3 minutes to do it, and my partner could have about 3 minutes to tell their story. Usually one type of entity, maybe multiple forms of capital, usually one or two, and certainly as many impact criteria that as apply. But you might be sitting there thinking, that's not fair, Deborah. You've been doing impact investing in communities for 10 years. You have lots of stories. I don't have a story. So I'm going to show you an example where you probably do have a story. So most of us, somewhere along the way, have given some sort of a donation to some sort of a nonprofit, some sort of a charity in our community. And we did it because they were doing something good for the world. So I might have a story to tell about the time that I made a donation to a nonprofit called X, Y, or Z in my community because they really created an opportunity for people to get back into the workforce, right? So I'd like to invite you to think broadly. If you really feel like you don't have a story, you may be able to tell someone else's story or a story that you heard about. You are always welcome to make it up because the fun thing about this is a game. You can't get it wrong. You are invited to play. So if you're facilitating this, I recommend that, again, you invite people to build their hand. They might hold it up and say that they're ready, like I've got my hand ready, go into pairs and each tell their story for 3 minutes, and then hear back from everybody what they had to say about what they learned. Often it's a really good chance for people to get to know, I didn't realize how much resource was here in the room, how much the people around me already have experience in and know, which means collectively we actually have some experience in community-based investing.